Hi, I'm Barbara, and I'm a breast cancer survivor. And let's talk about hair. When I went in for my orientation before I started my treatment, where you talk with your doctor and she tells you the type of chemo you're going to be on and all the other things that you need to know that can feel overwhelming, and it's so much information you almost feel like you're trying to take a sip of water from a fire hydrant. And one of the things that I clearly remember from that meeting was I did not want to have chemo. When I got the diagnosis, and me and God had many, many, many conversations. I prayed and I begged and I pleaded. One, please, I don't want to have chemo. And two, I don't want to lose my breasts, but I want to live. But if those two things, if those cups could pass from me, I please, well, I didn't have to lose my breasts, but I did have to have chemo. And I'll do a video later about how that process, and I know it's hard to understand, but it turned out to be a blessing, but we'll talk more about that later in another video. But when I was asking questions about the chemo, she was telling me, Barbara, I don't know how it's going to affect you. It affects everyone differently, but there are two things that I can guarantee will happen. One is that you will be severely, severely fatigued. And two, and she looked me dead in my eye and said, you're gonna lose your hair. And I just lost it and started bawling, because if you knew me, you know, my hair was my thing. I love to play in my hair. I love to do different things with my hair, with braids and extensions, and I just loved getting creative with my hair. And before she told me that, I really thought that I was a woman who, you know, India Irie, I am not my hair. You know, I know I'm more than my hair. I know I'm beautiful without my hair. I really, really, really thought I was that woman until cancer took my hair. And I realized it was easy for me to say that. But then when your hair is taken in a way that you have no control over, that you're not making the decision to do so, you're not weighing back and forth, should I not? It's just taken without your permission, without your planning, beyond your control. It feels different and it hits you different. And I remember just, okay, if I lose my hair, fine. I just want to live. But the day came when I had my hair in braids at that time, and I'll put a picture up to show you what my hair looked at that time. And I was loving my hair because I was just playing with different colors and things like that. And it got to the point to where I'd ask her when would I start losing it, and she was like, oh, about the second or third chemo treatment. And after the first one, and the first one knocked me on my butt, which that's another video too. But after the first one, my hair started coming out after the very first chemo. And by the second chemo, I would run my hands through my braids and they would come out like 4 or 5 at a time in my hand. And it was very, very traumatic, because I was just used to, you know, just running my hands through my braids and getting them, you know, to behave. And when I would naturally do that, my hair would come out in my hands. And I made a decision that I was done with the daily trauma. That, okay, why delay the inevitable? Why put myself through this every day? And I called, my best friend Lisa was here at the time, because she had basically moved her life from Texas and came here to live with me for a month to help me through the chemo process. And she was here, and my friend Evelyn, she cut her husband's hair every week, and so she had the clippers and everything. So I asked her to come over and cut off my hair because I wanted it to be in a safe environment. We're in a pandemic, you know. I haven't had my vaccine yet because I'm going through chemo, and I wanted to provide a safe environment and with people that I trusted around me, because to be honest, I didn't know how I was going to respond or how I was going to react when I saw myself after I cut all of my hair off. And so she came over and did the big chop. And I remember feeling like, whoo, it's nice and cool, you know. And before I looked at my hair, I just rubbed my head just to kind of wrap my mind around what had just happened. And I remember going into my bathroom to look in the mirror. And I just looked in the mirror and I felt like I was looking at a stranger. I didn't know who that was looking at me in that mirror. I didn't even recognize myself. And I remember just feeling numb and thinking, what am I gonna do with this? And I remember looking over, because I can laugh about it now. It was not funny then, but I can laugh about it now, thank God. But I remember like feeling like piercing eyes on me, and I looked over and there were Lisa and Evelyn standing. And if you ever seen that movie, in the movies where, you know, people are like peeking, you know, from, you know, outside the door, and they're kind of peeking in the door, and like Evelyn was here and like Lisa was here, you know, and they were just like, just looking at me like waiting, like not knowing what to do. Just, I mean, now that I think about it, I can laugh, but it was just like, they were like frozen in time, just staring at me. And I remember looking at them, and I remember thinking, I don't know either. I don't know. And I just walked out of the bathroom, and they just still standing there. And I remember going and laying down on my bed and praying that, you know, Lord, I don't know what to do with this, and I don't know if I can get used to this, but I'm grateful to be alive, and I want to stay alive. And if this is what it takes to do so, then this is just what it takes. But help me figure this out, because I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to feel like a stranger in my own body. And to be honest, it took some time. And there was a point in time to where I tried to avoid mirrors, because I would go to the bathroom and I'd wash my hands, and I'd try to do so without looking up and looking in the mirror, because it was like, it hit me every time that I looked at myself. I was like, sometimes like at night when I would go and I would forget and I'd look up and then I would almost be like, who is that? And, you know, it was like, I literally felt like a stranger in my own body. But what I can say is that losing my hair taught me some things. I almost saw features that I never noticed about myself. And I noticed my cheekbones that were my mother's cheekbones. And I noticed even more clearly, I had the little cleft in my chin that you look at yourself, every day, and you get to the point where you don't even notice it. But I noticed that I have that just like my dad does. And I noticed that I've always loved my eyes, but without my hair, my eyes were even bigger and they looked even browner. And I do believe that was God's way of showing me the beauty in myself that I never noticed or was it made me even more grateful for it. My concern, and I would tell my friends before I did the big chop that I got this big head, and they just cannot. I just can't see it looking good bald. I got a big head, but I have the most amazing friends, and they would tell me, things like, Barbie, you have a big head because you have so much beauty, and so you needed a big head for all that beauty. And they would tell me things like that to make me laugh, and it took me a while. I'm not gonna lie, it was a process because I started wearing hats, and hats became my thing instead of my hair. And I just could not, it was hard for me to leave the house without a head covering. And I remember one time that I did. I just walked out, and I was just going downstairs to, to get my mail. And I remember I noticed a couple of people looking at me, and in your mind, it's like, okay, they're staring at me because I look weird, because I look strange, because I'm bald-headed. And that kind of set me back a little bit until I talked to a friend, and she was like, Barbara, did you ever think that they were looking at you because you didn't have any hair and because of the beauty they saw in it? And I said, Evelyn, I never looked at it like that because I became so self-conscious about it that I was projecting things on other people that I really didn't have the right to do. But with the encouragement of family and friends, I little by little started going out without my head covering. And I thank my friends because they were just consistent on every time that I greeted them without a head covering, or every time they came and I didn't run to put my hat on when they came over to visit me. They just showered me with praise and encouragement about how beautiful they thought I was and how beautiful they thought my hair was. And when it started growing back, how they would let me know how, look at the texture, look, it looks so silky. Oh, Barbie, your hair is so beautiful. It was that encouragement and that support that helped me finally get to the point to where I feel no need to cover my head at all. It was a difficult time, I'm not gonna lie. And I know that some women can cut off the hair and it's no big deal. But I've talked to a lot, and usually it is, because I don't think that we realize as women, I think it comes from an environment to where we're always taught that our hair is our crown, and it's our crown of glory. And sometimes, if I don't have my crown, if I don't have that crown of glory that everyone talks about, who am I? What am I? Am I as beautiful as I can be? And the answer is absolutely yes. The answer is you're even more beautiful, because that is you. That is you naked. That is you without any adornment. That is you in the most simplistic, beautiful way. And so there was a point in time where I looked in the mirror and I said, God, who is this stranger staring back at me in the mirror? Why can't I wrap my head around her? Why does she look so strange to me? How come I can't embrace her? And he said to me, she looks like a stranger because I'm making you new. And you will get to know her, and you will get to love her even more than you ever thought that you could. And it is true. The way I thought I loved myself before, but the way that I love myself now, the way that the confidence I have now, I thought I had confidence before, but the confidence that I have now, when I look at myself now, I just see something different. I see a woman who has fought cancer. I see a woman who has overcome many dark nights. I see a woman who has been healed by the grace of God. I see a woman that's even more bold than she was before. I see a woman who is stronger than I ever thought that I could ever be. And that is so beautiful to me. It doesn't matter if it's beautiful to anybody else. It's beautiful to me. And so I just wanted to encourage those of you that find themselves in this journey, those women who are running their fingers through their hair and your hair is starting to come out and then it's starting to come out in handfuls. You are not your hair. You are so much more than that. And I know it's hard to see now, but just give yourself some grace. Just shower some grace on yourself and give yourself some patience, because you will come around. You will learn to embrace you. You will learn the beauty in you, and the gift of losing your hair will become evident. And then after that, you could be whoever you choose to be. You can grow it all back out. You can keep it short. It's so odd to me because I'm loving my short hair so much now that I'm looking for a barber to cut it and shape it up and to keep it low for a little while, because I just want to play with short hair for a little while, and then who knows, later I might change my mind and let it grow out and get some braids, or I just might go natural. I might grow a fro, who knows? But to have that freedom to decide. Before, I would love to do things with my hair, but there were certain things that I wouldn't do, because I'm like, I'd see women who like shave the side of their head and things like that, and I'd always admire them because I'm like, wow, the boldness and the courage to do that. I can never do that. And I would admire them, and now I look and I am that woman. I am that woman who is fearless and who is unafraid. And that is the blessing of losing my hair. So I wish you well on this journey. Give yourself some time. You will wrap your head around it. I know it doesn't feel like it now. I know you feel like you might feel like a freak of nature, because, you know, most women have not seen themselves bald-headed and without any hair, but you'll come around and you'll start having fun with your hair, and it will start growing back, and it'll start growing back beautifully, and you get the great opportunity to choose what you want it to be. So remember, give yourself some grace, and it's okay if it takes time. Till next time.